Won't be long. Oh, all right. Who knows what a repeater system is? Okay. I didn't see some hands come up, huh? You have an antenna. What we use in Snellville is a 4-bay dipole. You know what a dipole is? A little loop at 147 megahertz. It's a 2-foot loop, something about like that. And we have 4 of those on one mast. We have feed line. We're using a 7/8 hard line down the 165-foot tower. A duplexer, and then it divides the signals off to a receiver and a transmitter, and then it goes to a controller or a DVR or a phone patch or a voter or whatever else we have with the controller on that. And that's all a repeater is. What we have is link receivers. They're UHF receivers, okay, at the main site. And we have a main receiver, and then they go into a voter, and the voter sends the signal to the controller. And the controller goes to the transmitter, back out the duplexer, and up the antenna. Radio. Simplex, not duplex, yes.
What's the purpose of a voting receiver?
Oh, yes. These receivers, they have transmitters at the other end of the county that transmit at UHF frequencies into these. You think it would be covered better, but location, 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 it's height, height, and height of the antenna. All right. This is a duplexer or set of cans, you hear it called, okay? A high frequency, 147.675, goes in one side, goes through a Varanach filters, and on the other side is the low frequency, 147.075. When you look at your radio, what is displayed in your radio for the GARS repeater? 147.075. You're receiving that. That means they're transmitting on that. So 075 goes on this at the repeater site. 675 goes up here on this one. That's a higher frequency. And then that goes to the antenna. These filters, they're cans. I have a picture of that in another slide. That's what separates the receive frequency so it doesn't interfere with the transmit, or the transmit doesn't interfere with the receive frequency. Okay, any questions so far? Can everybody see that? That's the county. You can't see that? Okay, can you see the blue stars on there? This is Snellville down here at the bottom of the county. Okay, Snellville. This is Jimmy Carter over here. Duluth, we're not there anymore. This is up here at Bogan Road, and this gold star is Tuggle Road up here. So this is where we're at right now. This is the hangar. That's the hospital in Lawrenceville. And this gold star over here near the county line, that is the field day site. Okay, you see a little park right there. And let's see, where is, it's not on here. I don't see Tribble Mill. Yeah, it's probably this one right out here. Here we go. Tribble Mill. Grayson, Tribble Mill. This is Lanier Mountain off of High Point Road in 78. Goshen Springs is Jimmy Carter in 85. Yeah, we have a remote receiver at Tribble Mill. For the last 2 years? Yes. Yes. A week ago. That's the reason Chuck could not run the net from his house last night. Yes. When did we move it? We moved it about a week ago. Yes, 075 went from triple mill on at 220 feet, and sea level there is 1,100 feet. Yeah, 1,100 and 200 is 1,300 feet above sea level. Okay, or 200 and something feet above ground level. Lanier Mountain, we're 150 feet off the ground, and I don't remember what the sea level, mean level there is. Okay, the antenna is on this, facing this part of the county. Okay, that's where Chuck is down here in Jackson, Georgia. That's the reason he can't get into it. He can hear it, but his vertical doesn't put out enough power to get back into it. He needs to put a beam up towards it. So Goshen Springs is a link receiver. It receives on 675, transmits UHF back to the repeater, and that's what we're trying to mix in there right now. EOC, the hospital where the D-Star stack and stuff is at, and there's a Digi on there, 145.590 packet. Okay. And another UHF, 442-400. Yep. Bogan Road, we have Digi up there, and we've got a 6-meter repeater up there. We got to get an antenna put up, and it'll go back on the air. Tuggle Road is an 800-foot tower. We've got the 4-bay dipole at 750 feet. We have a professional tower crew. Okay, you had a question a while ago. Did it get answered? I forgot to call on you after that. Okay. Oh, okay. But Tuggle Road, you notice the county line, and the antenna is facing this way, so that it should cover everything here in the county. But at 750 feet, it may cover, we may have a 100-mile footprint. It's not there yet. I've got to talk to some guys, the exec committee, to find out if we want to put the repeaters here right now in Snellville. If we move it up here, we got to find out what it will do, how much coverage it has, and if it'll coordinate. It may not coordinate up there with Sarah. Yes, Hal. No, we don't have emergency power. We have the propane tank there, and the generator has not been installed yet. We have a generator to go there as soon as we get a work crew to go over there and hook it all up. Yes, this would be inside the county building with generator power and electrical and everything's. But to do that, we have to have escorts from the county to take us in and do that. Yes, sir. Question.
So I traveled all through South Georgia, and I was involved in some wireless projects. And I think it's in Pelham, and there's also one in Leesburg. But in Pelham, I remember a tower that is at least 1,000 feet with an elevator. I mean, it's huge.
You ever heard of that tower? Pelham, Georgia? What, 1,000-foot tower with an elevator on it?
Well, it wasn't a regular elevator. It was sort of a pulley-type system
Oh.
to get up there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, up past Duncan's Corner.
So my question is,
Yeah, go ahead.
if you look at this footprint,
Uh-huh.
my question is, you know, if you could do a point-to-point down to a 1,000-foot tower that's 150 miles from here, that would give you another footprint. Or
We don't want that.
You don't want that,
No.
okay. That was my question.
We only want to cover somewhere in the metro area here in the surrounding counties. Okay, if we get out further, because there is 147.075 just across the state line in Alabama, and there's one up in Tennessee, And if we have an opening sometimes, if you turn off your PL tone and decode, you'll hear them. You can hear them and you can work them from your car or from your house. So, yeah.
Are all the receivers currently online?
No. We're only running the main receiver and transmitter from here.
Okay, so that's still a work in progress.
Yes.
Okay.
I had to talk. Eddie, the repeater chairman, WD4JEM, he's flying out to Iceland in the morning. So he's at home in bed right now, and he'll be getting up at 3 a.m. to go to the airport. No. This is the only transmitter we have. Okay? These are just receivers. They receive and then transmit that signal to this transmitter. And we'll have that working as soon as I can get the cable built. I can't run down to HRO and pick up a cable that will connect a BridgeCom repeater to a LinkCom controller and a RS-8 voter system. You have to custom make the cable. And what I found out is I've got to make an AND circuit and two signals coming out of the repeater to go into the voter.
And that is the goal, is to have them all linked as they were a few years ago.
Yes, we had them linked about 5 or 6 years ago. Yeah, but if we move the repeater up to toggle and everybody is happy with it and it'll coordinate, we may just leave it up there. So we'll see. That's another test. Yeah, Hal.
So what? I guess the 075 repeater. I had some stuff down from a couple years ago. It used to be a Kendacom Mark IV. You said now it's a BridgeCom. Does that have a separate amplifier still or not?
No. The Mark IV from Kendacom, we got that when Howie was president in 95, I think it was, or 96. And that has been on the air continuously, skipping a couple of weeks in between maintenance on it and stuff. But up until when we get the BridgeCom. Last year, we've got the BridgeCom, put it online, and because we had a near lightning strike that tore up the top of the county tower on the mountain, took out, what, two antenna amplifiers and stuff up there? Yeah. It blew the meter off the side of the building for the electrical company, up against the fence 20 feet away.
Wow, okay.
So we're lucky. We sent our our controller back to them, and they said it had blown chips in it, and they replaced them all. And they're all surface mount chips in there.
So what was the, I know at some point in time there was an amplifier on that, so if the power went out, it would run at like 20 watts off a battery until the battery died.
Yes. The Kendacom had a 100 watt amplifier run off AC power. And if we lost power there, AC power, it would run 20 watt, 15 watts off of the repeater, barefoot, as you call it. So now the BridgeCom runs 15 watts, and we run a 160 watt Henry amplifier. See how noisy that is? That's because we're in this building. So we're running 145 watts into the cans. We're dropping about 40 watts there. So we're getting about 100 watts up to the antenna, which we're probably dropping half a watt going through the hard line. And we've got probably 95 watts to a 4-bay dipole. And that gives you 8 dB on that. Okay. Oh, I drew lines in here for the links. Okay. So, this has a directional mic on it. Okay. If you're in Tribble Mill or in any of these areas here, you should be able to get into this receiver, hit this transmitter, and it goes out. The theory is you can work an HT. If you can hit these receivers, you're in the system. Did we ever prove that that worked? I don't remember. So we're trying to make it HT viable, but there's some low spots in the county. And you notice this is Peachtree Industrial. It runs down through here. That's a big ridge. If you're on this side of it, you're not getting back across it, especially running an HT. Sorry about that. Oh, this website. Hey, what's that path? You may want to go there. You can put in your latitude and your longitude, and then you can put in a latitude, longitude here, and it'll do a find on it, and it'll tell you your height above sea level for each point, and it'll show you the terrain between the 2 points. This, Earth bulge? No, it won't. This is from point to point flat. Yeah. And this is only 10 miles. From this point to this point was 10 miles. And that was, where was that? Snellville to Norcross. So Norcross is up at about 1,165 feet. And 1073 for Snellville. Okay. Nice website if you want to look at stuff to see what's between you and somebody else. Yes, Steve.
I can't read that back here. What is that?
Hey, what's that path?
What's that path?
Yes. Hey, what's that path.com.
And it's a really neat website where it has like preloaded mountains and all kinds of points.
Yeah, when you go into it, it has preloaded stuff over on the left-hand side. You just have to put in your stuff, and it'll save it every time that you go back to log into that website. Right? Neat. Let's see. Come on. Oh, I-85. This is, oh, somebody's foot's right there. Okay, that is the tower at Goshen Springs, Jimmy Carter in 85. This is a 4-bay dipole. You see the dipole right there? They are 180 degrees opposite, no, they're 90 degrees, 90, 90, 90, 90. Opposite each other, so we can cover around the tower and around the rest of the county. That is a 2-meter link. Now, we can't coordinate a transmitter there on 075 because we're too close to the Alabama line. That's the reason we've got written, was it a written permission slip from for Snellville? Oh, 06. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of different rules when you have repeaters stuck up. You just can't stick repeaters up in the air. They coordinate with Southeastern Repeater Association, Sarah. They'll ask you all this information and want you to give them the information back. And they'll say, sure, you can put that repeater up as long as you don't go over 200 watts and stuff. So, but yeah, this is the guy on the tower taking pictures of our 4-bay dipole. And above this is, oh, I don't have it. Oh, there it is. That's the 442-100 and vertical off the same tower. Okay. Let's go. Come on. Hit escape. That go back one more. There you go. Whoop. There you go. Okay. Those are antennas out there. This is a Bridgecom repeater. It's 5 U's in a rack-mounted kit. Okay. It'll run 50 watts all day long. Has a transmitter and a receiver and a controller in this box. This is the back of it. Has a battery backup DC in. It has an auxiliary port. This is a transmitter coming out of it and the receive signal going into it. So the receiver on this side goes straight to the receiver from the duplexer, and this goes to either an amplifier or anything else you got in there, and then to the duplexer. That's the 075 repeater. This is a system fusion repeater. We have one of these in Snellville, or two of these in Snellville. One is the 147-255 repeater. Okay, and it's the 444-525 repeater. So we've got 3 repeaters on that tower in Snellville. Okay. Yeah, the 444-525 repeater it's an automatic. It'll do fusion or FM. We had a HRI 200 donated to us, but I have not yet got it to work to hook into this box to put it online for a room, as they call it in Fusion. Let's see. 444-525 is on the top of that 165-foot tower. And the 4-bay dipole is down 50 foot. And the 147-255 is on a dual band about 100 foot. Yeah.
Where's the gateway? How high is the gateway?
The gateway is probably at 80 foot or it's on the 100 foot. I forget which dual band it's on. We have 2 dual bands, the 4-bay dipole, and the 440 station master on top. Yeah, there's 2 HF antennas off of that using the gateway for Aries. Okay. 147-075 has a PL of 82.5, 3 link receivers, Norcross, Hamilton Mill, and Tribble Mill. Oh, there's one repeater I didn't talk about. 255. Yeah, we'll get to that one. It's running 20 watts into a Henry 100 amp amplifier. It's located at Lanier Mountain, using the dual band vertical, the amplifier. The 525 AMS automatic mode selection, 100 watt outs. It's on the top of the tower. FM or C4 FM fusion. Okay. 442-100 is also a Yaesu fusion repeater. This one is in Norcross on the Goshen Springs Tower. County Tower, okay? Yeah. It runs a PL of 100, different than the other PLs. It's 20 watts at 250 feet. We do not have an external amplifier on this one, okay?
Question.
Yeah, Dave.
On the 442-100, I'm sorry, what antenna is that one transmitting on?
The single band vertical, station master type. If you don't know, when I say these names, if you don't know what they are, Station Master's a brand name of antenna like Comet. Yes, a fiberglass stick. Yeah, it's about 2.5, 3 inches in diameter. The 442-325 repeater PL100 is a Yaesu running FM mode, 20 watts dual band antenna at Bogan Road. That's the northeast corner of the county up there. Good repeater, very little use. If we have to, this Yaesu can be brought down and moved to another location and replace one that's broken. Ooh, that would be pretty good. How are we going to test Tuggle Road? That's a good question. We could take this one, turn off the one at Snellville, take the cans and that one up there, and that way I don't have to move all that hardware and undo all the wiring in there. Okay, I will. Who has 224 equipment? Okay, 3, 4 guys, 5, 6. 224580 repeater, 1.6 offset minus with a PL of 100. These two Kenwood radios, I have a picture of them in the cabinet. 25 watts into a 4-bay dipole located at Tribble Mill. It was donated to the club by Kenwood. And we have a backup for that, and we have the software to program those. So that's, and it's an excellent, it does a little better than 2 meters. So get 220 equipment and operate it.
So that one's not actually a repeater. It's 2 Kenwood radios that have like a repeater type interface like is inside the System Fusion repeaters?
Correct. It has a cable that goes between the two that's hooked with a breakout to an RLC controller. RLC is Radio Link Communications. They changed their names now, but if you do Google radio controllers, you'll see several companies that make controllers external to the repeaters and radios. And they make a lot of them for government functions and stuff also. Yes. Yeah. Go ahead, John. As soon as I can get that cable figured out.
If you wanted to test a repeater, you probably couldn't get a frequency for it, but I'm thinking if you wanted to test a 2 meter or even UHF at Tuggle, we could do that. I've got some equipment could be done if you want to test it.
We'll talk about it later then, okay? The 6 meter, 53.110 is no PL. Supposed to go in at Bogan Road. It's a vertical 50-foot water tank. It is a GE Master 2. Who knows what a GE Master 2 is? Old timers, okay. It's 1984, 82 technology. It's a radio. It come out of the cars, FM. The club has a box of them, and so. Is
that what the portable repeater is? 2 of those?
No.
No. Okay.
The portable that we use at Memorial Day Parade or any other functions we need one, it is one of these, and Eddie took the guts out. It's a transmitter receiver, and he went in there and cut it up so that the receiver and the transmitter signals come out of cable, goes to the controller. We use another RLC1 controller in there to control the transmit and receive signals to go to the cans. We like to call them cans or duplexers, yeah. Yes, Joseph.
Regarding the cans, are they tuned for a specific frequency, or can you tune them?
Yes, you can tune them, and you have to tune them for a specific frequency because the transmit frequency has to be tuned, so it will go through the cans, and the receive frequency doesn't, or any other frequencies. And then on the other side is the receive line. You tune those cans to let the receive frequency and keep the transmitter frequency out. Does that make sense?
And remember, the magic in this from your technician classes is this is happening at once. It's transmitting and receiving at the same time. So those frequencies have to be kept separate into
Yes.
the same antenna.
You don't want to blow your receiver out by transmitting back into it. So that's the reason the can is there, to keep the transmit signal on the antenna. Okay, those are a list of our repeaters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 repeaters. Plus the portable repeater, which is itinerant. Well, it's special. So make sure these are programmed in your HTs or your radios. Okay. This is the, I thought I got rid of that. Oh, no. Okay, there's the RLC link communications controller. It's a rack mount. It's a little box behind this plate. This blue front here has a receiver and a transmitter in it that hook into this controller. And they go to 2 separate antennas. They receive on that 4-bay dipole on the tower at Goshen Springs, and it transmits on a little UHF beam that goes to Snellville. This set of cans, I don't know if you can see it right there, that's UHF cans, and this is the fusion repeater right here that interface with it. And this is at Goshen Springs up there, running on county stuff. This is 3 UHF receivers that we got from this company that made the Kindecomp repeaters. It's all the same circuitry. I don't know how well they're going to do with the Bridgecom. That's another story. But this is what's in Snellville that receives the signals from the other links in the county. And we send these signals to a voter, and it takes the signal-to-noise ratio of the signals, all 4 receivers at Snellville, and gives you the best one to go out the transmitter. Theoretically, that is what it's supposed to do. There's the 444525 and the Henry amp. That's the 147255 repeater, and it's Henry amp over at Snellville. And that's about 10, 15, 20 U's that we got in a rack, half a rack right there. And we use internal controllers for these guys. That's just an extra link comm right there. This is the 220 Kenwoods. Says repeater in, repeater out. And there's a DB25 cables on the back of these that come out, and it has a cable that connects to the DB9 on the controller. Controls those two. 220 repeater. These are the cans. We have 4 of them for the 2-meter repeater. Usually you'll see 6, okay? These little black handles, they screw a rod up and down. It goes up and down in this tube. And also over here we have a little slot on here that has another little capacitor on there also. Yeah. I guess it's getting about time to do that.
And how do you check them?
Oh, a duplexer. What's in it? It's a capacitor and inductance in there that to that frequency, and it. How do we? Go ahead, John. You know better than that. Let him have a mic there.
Good way to explain it is there's 2 functions that happen in a can, in each can, and they're cascaded together to increase the effect of it. But these are called pass notch duplexers, meaning that they pass one frequency, your desired frequency, like let's say the transmitter, and then there's a notch 600 kilohertz away. It's tuned to that. So that notches out the receive or the other one. So on the transmit side, you're passing the transmit frequency and notching out the receive frequency so that it takes that RF energy away going over to the receiver side. On the receiver side, you do the opposite. You adjust the peak for the receive frequency and notch out the transmitter. So that gives you 70 to 90 dB of isolation between transmitter and receiver. Larry just went through tuning some, and I've probably tuned a dozen or 2 dozen duplexers. You go each one individually and then check the end-to-end performance. So in checking a duplexer and tuning it, it probably takes an hour, hour and a half at least, if everything goes well, to be able to do it. No, for all, either the cans that he showed are made by, those are RXTX, aren't they?
RXTX.
That is, there's probably thousands of those duplexers like that. The cans are about 3 feet tall, not quite 3 feet tall, and they're tied together, and they can be rack mounted, but you adjust the pass frequency with the black knob on the top, and then you got to get a non-metallic screwdriver to adjust the notch to make sure that it's exactly 600 kilohertz away. So you do that with a spectrum analyzer that includes a tracking generator that generates the signal. It'll generate a swept signal so you can see the transmit and receive frequency, and you adjust for the peak and the notch.
All right, very good. Thank you.
They're in series. Like you'll have 2 of those on the receive side and 2 of them on the transmit, and they daisy chain and then they're teed together. Yes, you tune all of the 2 on the transmit side the same, and the 2 on the receive side, they're the same, but they're kind of opposite in terms of pass and notch. Well, these are very stable. I mean, there's a lot of metal in these things. And normally, unless they're in a site that just has extreme temperature changes, they're not going to change that much. I mean, I've seen duplexers go 10 plus years and not have to be touched. I think they do on the RXTX, that a bimetal. Yeah, I've got a couple of sets of those VHF ones like that. And that black one there it is only a bandpass cavity. And the idea behind that was, I think that was given to us when Verizon closed out their old paging stuff. And it's a very high Q or very sharp bandpass filter that is in series with everything else, well, on the transmit side, to really narrow down the frequency of that, to keep it out of. And the reason we had that in there was because you have frequencies nearby in the band, like where we've got multiple repeaters, more VHF at one side or more UHF. Not for intermod necessarily, but just to give it some extra narrow tuning on that. Selectivity. Yes, that's the term. So those are typically used, the black one is typically used on a paging transmitter, because paging transmitters didn't have all the filtering that most repeaters have, and it was just a one-way transmitter, so it was just blasting out everything. So they used to put these big, high Q, very selective bandpass filters on paging transmitters so they wouldn't just spurt out a bunch of garbage to everything around it, because they might be located at another site with other repeaters, other RF.
Yep. Yeah, question down here?
Is that a slug that you're adjusting through some coils inside that thing, or what?
Yeah, it's a tube. it's a hollow tube,
Yeah.
and that centerpiece goes down, so it creates actually it's part of kind of an LC circuit, if you remember that back from your technician and general licenses.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, the ones 6 meters is 50 megahertz. The ones for 6 meters, we have a 4-can set for 6 meters, and they're this tall. I stand next to them. They're this tall. Okay.
Yeah, if you noticed on one of the UHF repeaters, you can have a set of those that will fit in a 19-inch rack and about 4 rack height units. Since the wavelength is much lower on UHF, see that second one with the chrome face there?
Yeah,
that's a set of, how many is it? 6?
1, 2, 3, 4. There's only.
Yeah, there's
4.
2 transmit and 2 receive
Yeah.
adjusted on that. But that 4-can for UHF is the equivalent of those 3-foot high ones for VHF, or the 6-foot tall ones for 6 meters. Did I answer your question, Bob? You're just narrowing it down.
No. It goes the other path. It goes the path of least resistance. This side on the transmitter, least resistance goes to the antenna. It doesn't turn around and go back through the receiver. No.
All you're doing is just narrowing it down. You're passing it with a real narrow pass band, but then you're notching out the energy going over to the other side.
Think of it like this. You've got 2 tubes. This side, left side, right side, you pour water in both of them. And they're connected at the end down here for the antenna. The water's going to go out the antenna. Well, the receive water is supposed to go this way, but the transmit water goes this way. Okay.
What you can't see is 2 of them are in series on each side, and then they go to a T, which is the common point that goes to the antenna.
Yeah, this little piece of coax right here connects these 2 together. This is an input. That's an output or an input there, and then this one connects, I think.
You'll go like on the end, like you're connecting a transmitter.
Yeah.
Goes into one cavity, comes through it, loops over to the other cavity, and then goes into the T. And then on the receive side, you have the same thing. You have a receiver on the end. It connects to one end of the cavity. It loops over to the other cavity and back to the T.
Okay. It just keeps the transmitter from blowing up your receiver. Okay. Desensing it, blowing it up, because if you put 100 watts into a front end of a receiver that close, it's dead. This is the tower at Snellville. Yagis that we had pointing to the link receivers, we're now running on a Omni on the signal there. No, that's Eddie up there. Yeah. Okay. On the county map, Treble Mill, Lanier Mountain as High Point Road in 78. Goshen Springs, 70, or Jimmy Carter in 85. Hospital in the center of Lawrenceville down there. Bogan Road, Tuggle Road, Treble Mill. Okay. What we've seen with this layout, HTs and little antennas will not make solid contact. You may get in. You've heard this HT go off with a noise. In this metal building, is it Faraday cage? You don't see a lot. You can't make contacts consistently. These are great for a special purpose. Medium power may not work in all places on your 50-watt mobile radios. So it says you're supposed to use the correct amount of power or just the right amount of power to make contact. Okay. Well, that depends on where you're at, how far down in the valley you are, or how high your antenna is. If you're high enough and have line of sight, 1 watt should do you okay, depending on the distance. In the county, it should work. But these have a special purpose, as Steve Martin would say. You saw that film? And my chair. And what else was it? And my what? Lamp. Okay. References. This is an excellent one. Repeater-builder.com. They have a lot of good information out there on repeaters, antennas, how to program them, old stuff, where to buy stuff, what to look out for, and different how to tune them, how to work on them, and everything. So repeater-builder.com. Echolink's registered, but we're trying to find out how to make it work. Looks like we lost the interface on that. We've got another interface we're going to try and put up there and get that running. We run an input-output test. We get failures. Well, we ran tests today, and on the internet connection, we're running a VPN, and right now it says coming in, ports are passed to it, going out, the ports go okay, and it talks. But the interface to the repeater hardware is not working right, so that's what we're working on now. Cellular service, like these guys here, the cell phone companies ran out of IP4 addresses, so what they did was double NAT those. So a bunch of people have the same IP address going to one that they get put out there and NAT it out again. If you ask how come it worked before, we had a Comcast Business which had a public IP address, and we'll keep working on it. Yeah, question over there.
This might be a elementary question, but last night during the net controller was from Covington. Now, I've tried to get out from Charlie Elliott Wildlife Center with my rig and couldn't get to the repeater. How does he sound so good on that from 30 miles away?
Where were you at?
Well, I was in Lawrenceville, but the net controller was in Covington last night.
Yeah, and I'm in Monroe, so, and John's in Pendergrass. He comes into the, okay.
Is it the power they run, or is it the height of the antenna?
That's all we
50
run,
watts.
50 watts. Yeah.
Okay, so a handy-talkie on a 2-meter tall antenna won't do it then, right?
It depends on how tall it is and the feed line. It depends on the loss of the feed line. Every 100 foot you lose 6 dB or 3 dB. Depends on what type hard line it is at this frequency. So there again, if you're putting out 5 watts, you'd only have 2 watts at the antenna. And if your antenna was 8 dB gain antenna, you'd probably have about 4 or 5 watts coming off the antenna. Whatever it takes. Oh, we're in Jasper County? Oh, that's a hole down there near the lakes, right?
Harold, I talked HT to HT to Brasstown Bald from my house in Swanee. HT to HT on 4 watts elevation. There was nothing between us.
Elevation. You remember that? Hey, what's that path website? It'll show you what's in between you, where you're at, to the repeater at Snellville, and you can put in there how high the antenna is on the tower from the ground also. Okay. And you may have a where were you? Jasper County? Monticello, Mansfield, down there. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, Steve.
So one of the rules of repeaters is if you can see it, you can talk to it. If you can't see it, it's iffy.
Oh, yeah. He used to work for Motorola back in the day. From old timer. Okay. Any questions? Yes. This is a good first radio. I ran one of these in my car with a quarter wave antenna on a mag mount on top of the car for a couple of years until I got enough money. This was back in early 80s. To buy a 50-watt mobile rig. But yeah, they're good. They serve a. This is an ICOM 51A, and it does D-Star and FM. And it's expensive, yes. But you can get Bayfongs. What's the other brands? Yeah.
Yaesu, ICOM, Kenwood.
Yeah, Yaesu, ICOM, Kenwood. The three major, Yaesu, ICOM, Kenwood, makes amateur equipment. You can go out on their webpage and see all the equipment, get books, get code. And if you're lucky enough, Silent Keys sales, you can pick up good stuff at a decent price. Okay. Yes, Hal. That was in Lawrenceville. Yeah. Yeah. Years ago in downtown Lawrenceville, where all the apartments are up there on the hill, there used to be a water tank, and that's where our equipment was, and we had a link to the 442-100 machine also. And the 6-meter machine was there. So those were good days, yes. But better days are ahead. So there you go.
Hey, Dave.
Yes, sir.
What's a cool little feature of having a voted repeater system? You have a little double kerchunk at the end of most of your transmissions, right?
No, you try to get that tuned out with timing between the two. If you hear a squelch tail on the end of it, yes, that is the difference between the tone. We run 82.5 tone, and the carrier operated relay. Okay, the transmitter will only transmit if the receiver gets a carrier signal and a PL tone. Okay, so you got two signals you have to have. Ooh, this broke. So that's the reason you hear the timing between the drop of the COS and the PL tone. So there you go. Any other questions? Yeah, Dave.
When are our repeaters typically used?
Monday night net, 7:30, 8:15, and 8:45. Drive time between 7 and 8 o'clock in the mornings on the weekdays. And then in the afternoons, there's some guys on there sometimes after 5 o'clock. Yes, Hal? Yes. The ones with emergency power are the ones at the county sites. The only ones with emergency power are the ones at the county towers. Okay. You had a question, Joel? No, not really. 440 is an excellent band, but 2 meters gets most of the activity around here. Except with the guys at DMR, they do 440 activity. D-Star does 440 activity. They run their DRAT stuff on 2 meters. So, and if, again, it's SERA.org. Is that the website? SARA.org is the coordinating facility for Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Mississippi. Alabama has their own registration service. So does Florida. Yeah. So there you go. It's not a science. Yeah, I guess it is science, but they don't coordinate with each other. Any other questions? Okay, that's it, guys. All right.
Thanks, David. Appreciate it. Lots to learn about repeaters. A lot of in-depth, a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes and within the cabinets. So.
Thank you.